You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we have a brand new Mel Kiper Jr. mock draft to get to. We'll tell you who he has the Seahawks selecting at 18th overall. React to it coming up in just a bit. Also, Taysom Hill, the Starman Marmon himself of the New Orleans Saints. Could he be on his way to Seattle? I got a new rumor to address that we'll talk about coming up later on in today's program. I got a little survey that I want to start today's show with. I'm very curious. Of all you watching out there, how many of you have been to a Seahawks game? Whether it's at Lumen Field, maybe it was an away game, maybe it was an international game of sorts. I don't know. Maybe you've been to a Super Bowl. If you've been to a Seahawks game of any kind, type 12 in the comments section. I want to see a lot of 12s. I want to see a lot of representation telling us whether or not you've been to a Seahawks game or not. I'm just curious if you've been to a Seahawks game ever in your lifetime. If so, type 12 in the comments section. We'll get started with today's show. New mock draft from ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. He is projecting the Hawks select Alabama offensive guard Tyler Booker with the 18th overall pick. Let's hear the analysis of what Mel had to say. Booker is the best pure guard in this class, and while addressing the interior might not be the most exciting first-round pick, it's a problem in Seattle. Laken Tomlinson is a free agent in the middle of the Seahawks offensive line, contributed to the team's 54 sacks allowed, tied for the third most. Booker is strong enough to anchor, allowing 1 sack in 3 seasons at Alabama. And he's able to open run lanes, which could pop Kenneth Walker III for some big runs. I like this pick by Mel Kiper Jr. here. And obviously, for starters, you're taking care of a big position of need at the offensive guard spot, which you are going to need some help with. And you found a fantastic football player in the process as well. It's not the sexy pick, all right? If Seattle drafts Tyler Booker on draft night, there's not going to be a parade in downtown Seattle for drafting Tyler Booker here. But even with that said, this is the smart pick on the part of the Hawks here if they go this route with Tyler Booker. And like Mel said, he's the best pure guard in this draft. There's talk about some of these tackles moving over to the guard position. We've been over several of them here on this program over the last few weeks. But of guys that are a natural at the position, they don't get better than Tyler Booker as far as that goes. So with that in mind, I like the idea of Tyler Booker. We'll go over his scouting report, get to know Tyler Booker coming up in just a moment. But first, should the Seahawks draft Tyler Booker? It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. D for draft, P for pass. Chime in. Should they draft Booker or not? Weigh in and let us know. Coming up later on, we are going to talk about Taysom Hill and the idea of bringing him to Seattle. I'll share some thoughts. We'll let you hear from Brock Huard with this idea coming up in just a bit. Stay tuned for that right here on Seahawks Today. Let's get back to Tyler Booker now and learn a little bit more about the Alabama offensive guard. Played for the Tide from 2022 to 2024. Was a first-team All-American selection this past season. 2 straight years as a 2-time first-team All-SEC selection as well in the best conference in all of college football, going up against some incredible competition there over the years. And you look at Tyler Booker, and I want to go over his PFF grades here for you and kind of show exactly what the 12s can be expecting, what he brings to the table for this Seahawks team. And you see his overall grade, not great, a 66.5, but his pass block grade was incredible, an 86.5, and a run block grade of a 63.9. So he's got the pass blocking figured out. The run blocking needs some work, and he didn't allow any sacks this past season. So all of that is a positive. I can work with that. He is not perfect, but there's certainly some ground to build upon there. His scouting report is pretty impressive. He's got a massive, dense build. THICC thick, all right? He is able to show some burst when it comes to the pulls of what he's able to do. He's got good pad level. Low man wins. You guys know that. He's good about being that low man. And he's square with power. He delivers body blows. He's a very good striker in that sense. The footwork, a bit mediocre at times when it comes to his quickness. That's going to be one thing that he'll need to improve. But nonetheless, I think if you're Seattle here, this is a guy that you want on your team, and the expectation would be that he's a day one starter. He can step in and start immediately at that left guard spot. He was a left guard at Alabama. I think he would take Laken Tomlinson's role. You would still have to figure out what you're going to do at the right guard spot, but I think this would be a huge step in the right direction if they were to do so. Speaking of the first round, you see Mel projected Tyler Booker. What do you guys think? Who will be Seattle's first-round pick at 18th overall? Give us a name in the comment section that comes to mind who you think the Hawks are going to select. Weigh in and let us know. We are all over the NFL draft right here on Seahawks Today. I can pretty much guarantee you, you do not know anybody that watches college football like yours truly. I love college football even more than I do the National Football League. And so we will bring you the best draft coverage you will find anywhere when it comes to this Seattle Seahawks team. We're talking everything from mock drafts to news and rumors, and our analysis this offseason goes well beyond the draft as well. We're talking everything from trades to free agency. If you're a diehard Seahawks fan, this is where you're going to want to be all offseason long. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. I don't think that's a tall task. Subscribe now, and you'll be glad you did. Let's shift our attention now to free agency. Brock Huard, former Seahawks and Washington quarterback, does a radio in Seattle with Seattle Sports. Does a really good job. Also covers college football for Fox Sports. He is saying that the Hawks should be highly interested in Saints tight end Taysom Hill, who's expected to be released within the coming weeks. Huard said this: if he does get released, he'd be a name I'd be highly interested in Seattle. To have a guy with that versatility, that joker position that can do so many things and do them well. You know, I went to the University of Kansas, and I grew up watching Mark Mangino football. And if you recall, many years ago, there was a team that Kansas had that went to the Orange Bowl with Todd Racing and Aqib Talib and Chris Harris and several others. And the thing that made that team unique, that Mark Mangino always talked about, that I have been a firm believer in as a football fan, is having athletes. One of the things Mangino talked about was, he said, hey, I just need to get these guys in the building, and I'm going to find a spot to put them on the football field. And I think when you look at Taysom Hill, that logic applies here. He is a hell of an athlete. He doesn't necessarily do one thing great, but he does several things well. He is a swift Swiss Army knife. And Klint Kubiak, I think, can find a way to make him a natural fit in this offense. And a big reason why, he played for Klint Kubiak this past year in New Orleans. Klint has made it no secret. He is a fan of Taysom Hill and what he does on the football field. Kubiak said this recently after taking the job as Seattle's OC on Taysom Hill. Asked about if he could find guys to play a variety of roles. He said, we had a guy that comes to mind in Taysom Hill that was a weapon that I was able to get creative with. So that makes you think, is he already putting that in John Schneider and Mike McDonald's ear that, hey, if Taysom Hill becomes available, we should bring him into Seattle? Should the Seahawks sign Taysom Hill? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, N for no. What do you think about this possibility of signing Taysom Hill? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know. Seahawks hats are on sale now for up to 50% off. We got the flat bill version. We got the baseball cap style. And we have all sorts of hats. You're seeing several on your screen right now. There's plenty more to choose from. It's all on our website, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats, where you can check those out. and see for yourself, as well as other Seahawks gear. Plenty of variety to choose from. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats is where you can get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. All right, so let's tell you about Taysom Hill now. Quarterback, tight end, running back, a variety of different things, whatever you want to call him. He's played 8 different positions in the National Football League. There was a point in time when Sean Payton thought he was going to be Drew Brees' replacement. That didn't necessarily work out, but the Saints still have gotten a lot out of him in his time since joining the Saints in 2017 out of BYU. And if you look at the numbers at Taysom Hill, the stats, they aren't that great, if we're going to be honest with you, about what he did in 2024. But as the great Bill Belichick once said, stats are for losers, scoreboards for winners. The stats don't tell the whole story of the impact that Taysom Hill could potentially bring to an offense. You look at the statistics of what he did last season, and you can see he was a threat in both the receiving and the rushing game. 39 total carries, 278 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, along with 23 catches, 187 yards, 8.1 yards a reception. And whether you line him up as an H-back or a tight end, a fullback, whatever it may be, Klint Kubiak can find a way to make Taysom Hill a key piece to this offense. And we know the Seahawks, they want to be physical. They want some guys that can do a variety of things. I think getting Taysom Hill, which shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, could be a natural fit for what Seattle wants to do. And you might get a backup quarterback in the process as well with Taysom Hill on that front. Appreciate y'all joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means you are a real one. Spam real one in the comments section. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.